So what a unique time in history we're having with this pandemic. With all the uncertainty and the worry and the fear and all that's going on with the economy and blah, blah, blah. I want to direct our attention to something a little more lofty. And so we know that when we go into a meditation personally and we begin to shut everything down and slow everything down, that the brain becomes highly organized and reorganizes itself into new pathways and new patterns and creates new neurology. And also the immune system starts to reorganize itself and become stronger and healthier, and the body begins to repair itself. The energy around your body begins to clean itself up. And this all happens automatically. You don't have to do anything. It just happens when you give it enough time and you slow down enough and you relax enough. And so it makes sense that, the planet is doing this as well. But it's probably doing it all the time, and it would probably have done it already. But because of all the people hectically running around trying to, hustle and make money and get somewhere, this mad rush to nowhere that the rat race is. And, people saying they haven't got time because they're so busy and, getting caught up in the busyness. We have been like this, the governor on, the whole planet healing and reorganizing itself and cleaning itself up. And I was talking to my barista just this morning. This is probably the last time I'm going to see my barista for a while. Not looking forward to the withdrawal from the caffeine. Everyone's got to do their part, right? But we were talking about, how, his boss is a little bit stressed out because, he doesn't know what's going to happen. He's got to close the cafe and all that sort of stuff, which is fair enough. But, everyone's in the same boat. It's like the whole world is in this position. So there's no point really worrying about it because, they've already talked about these stimulus packages. And I know that, economists are going to have their opinions of whether this is the right thing to do or not and blah, blah, blah. But the point is, if half if 3/4 of the world is shut down and we're basically running on idle now with, you can just hear the garbage truck out there. Basically, basic services, essential services are going to be the only things running. Then no one can be expected to, come up with mortgage payments and rent and, all that sort of stuff without some kind of support. If you're being forced to go inward and be still and not work, then you can't be expected to come up with those payments. So obviously, the world governments are taking care of that, or at least putting measures in place to soften that, to get us through to the other side, so they say. Now, you have your opinion about that, whether they're honest or not, it's up to you. That's not really the point of this video. The point of this video is to say, let's take advantage of this time to really go inward, to reorganize ourselves, to get out of those rat race habits, those patterns that just keep us running on this treadmill faster and faster and faster with no end date and no way of getting off. This seems to be like nature's way of pruning, of winding the clock back by slowing everybody down for a little bit. And it's a forced meditation. It's like everybody who has been avoiding those emotions, those thoughts, those memories, and suppressing them and pushing them down, using up all their energy to not do the internal work that needs to be done to heal. Now we're all being forced to do our bit. And, there's always been this maybe that's why everyone was so anxious and so, on the verge of depression. All this, that was pandemic as well, on an emotional scale, that, people knew that something was coming, that they knew that they would have to pay the price and that the toll would have to be paid eventually. And, I remember so many markers along the way from at least the last 10 years of opportunities for you to start practicing this internal practice of getting clean and clear, and to do the work that you need to do to get yourself in alignment with this shift. And, some of us did it and some of us are still doing it. And a lot of people, a lot of us just didn't want to even look at it, and now we're being forced, And so I see a lot of these memes, about people suffering in quarantine. It's like, really, yeah, it's not great. I understand that. But the reality is, you're sitting on your couch, you're sitting on your chair, you're in a safe space, hopefully, most of you. And, you're still allowed to go shopping and get your food, and you're still allowed to, there's certain freedoms you still have. Obviously, you can't go partying at the nightclub and all that sort of stuff, or go to the beach and, be with 5,000 other tourists like they did in Bondi. But, this is a good opportunity for you to get out of your habits, to start living a different way. And it doesn't have to be, doing anything extraordinary. Maybe it's just enough not to, wake up stressing to your alarm clock and have to rush out the door and get to work, to a job maybe you're not really happy about, or, all that sort of stuff. Maybe it's a good time for you to sit back and reassess and really, go inward, meditate, look at your life, look at what's really important to you, and maybe get your health organized and get some habits in place that over the long term, provided we survive all this, it will put you on a new course, a course that is in line with the future. And that's one of the biggest takeaways that I've had, is that, if it's not in the future, then it's probably not really important. And so, what is important? Well, you need to strip it all back to find out what's at the base, what's the essential things, like the government's saying, only essential business. Well, what are they? Well, hospitals is one, health is probably number one. And then, obviously they've got the banks are still open. So you need to work out how you're going to, propel yourself through the world, and resources. Maybe it's not just money, but it's resourcefulness. How resourceful are you? And so there's a number of things that you can start to focus on, and all those hobbies and all those interests that you never had time to study and to look into and to put your mind towards. Now a lot of people, you're going to have a lot of time on your hands. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit there stressing, trying to force it to happen faster and trying to get to the other end, and just so you can go back to your normal life that was maybe not really, as efficient and as aligned with the future as you would have liked? Or are you going to start to slow down, find your neutral, find a good platform, get some space around you, and start to think and feel in a new direction, in a way that's going to make you, it's going to attract you into the future that's obviously unfolding. And, when you're dealing with an infinite intelligence like this on a planetary level that has basically, like the memes say, has put everyone in their room for us to think about all the shit we've done to each other and the planet, then, maybe it's time to start thinking about what's in store for us when this all clears itself up, And for some people, maybe that's that's not as important on a physical level as you think it is. So, maybe, we need to start tuning into the more energetic side of things and go beyond the body. And maybe this is what it's all about, is about sitting down and shutting, folding your legs down and making your body still and just settling it all down and going beyond the drives and beyond the mind chatter and going beyond the emotions that come up and going beyond the old memories that surface when you finally have some peace and quiet and some stillness and you can't run away from them, you can't distract yourself from them. Maybe it's all about just sorting all that shit out that you've just been putting on the back burner for years and years and years. And if all of us are doing our little bit, billions of people all dealing with all these emotions and these thoughts and feelings that have just sort of been piling up in the atmosphere, then it's not going to take very long, just like the canals in Venice, it's not going to take very long before things start to clear up and it becomes a lot more easier and there's a lot more space around everybody and it just gets cleaner and more pristine. And when we're all doing that and we all start to align with that new energy and we can become nodes in the network to ground that new frequency, that new future into our reality, then it's, this transition is in my opinion all going to be worth it. So, keep your head, as Kipling says, if you can keep your head when all others around you are losing theirs, just remain calm. Reality is, this thing's probably going to wash over you. And even if it affects you, if you're not at a high risk, it's probably going to upgrade you. And it's probably, this virus is probably the delivery system for consciousness to level up everybody. So just stay calm, relax. The more relaxed you are, the stronger your immune system. The stronger your immune system, the less effect this is going to have on you. So just take the time to chill out. How many of you needed a break anyway? How many of you were complaining that you weren't getting enough sleep and you're working too hard anyway? So, take this time to chill out.